Hello, this is going to be a floor-based class and we can use cushions, towels, etc. and a band to make us more comfortable and the band to add sometimes a more better stretch or a little bit of resistance. And we're going to be using the ground for feedback, how to realign ourselves. Let's begin laying down on our back. As always, you will be exercising entirely at your own risk. So do listen to your body. Do take options. None of the exercises should be painful. So having your feet hip distance and allowing your spine to be long. Let's relax our arms to the side. And just gently take your knees to one side. Just be gentle and kind to yourself. Soften your shoulders, relax your jaw. And when you're ready, with control, take your legs to the other side and relax. Allow your tummy to relax. Allow all around your pelvic floors to relax, your shoulders and jaw. Switch again to the first side. Switching again for the last time. And then release. Now, some of us may benefit from having a towel or a cushion under the head. Still have a little arch in the back of the neck and aim to have the forehead the same height as the chin. Today, this isn't complimenting me, so I'm not going to use it, but we've always got that option. Placing the hands on the tummy and having the feet hip distance. Let's think about thoracic breathing. So we have a breath that we could call the WHO breath, WHO, that can help us. So breathing wide and full into the back without any force. And as we breathe out, think of saying the word WHO to yourself. It may sound like a seashell. And we're going to do this 10 times. Just noticing how you feel. After a few breaths, most likely you're going to notice a light engagement in that midsection. I find this a really pleasant and effective way of encouraging that light engagement through that midsection. So when necessary, we need to use this light engagement through this midsection for safety to hold the back still when we do exercises. When we relax, when we stretch, we release. And we want to be relaxing and releasing pelvic floors, but without letting any area sag and slouch. So when you've done your 10 breaths, let's bring one knee in towards the body. Feel gentle stretch through the front of the leg and release, repeating with the other leg. Check tailbone in the center and you've got length head to tailbone. Release and switching again. So this kneecap points up to the ceiling. Switching again, you might extend the leg you've just been pulling in. As you switch, you might extend your arms overhead and then reach the leg. As you come in, you might lift from the sternum, tuck the chin, just one notch in. So you'd be able to put an apple under the chin. We're using the out breath to come in and the in breath to return. So let's do one more on each side, knowing that you can keep your head and shoulders down. So if you had osteoporosis or neck problems, please do keep your head and shoulders down. So once we've done that, let's bring the feet to hip distance. Cross the leg over, so you're making a 4 shape. Ease that leg away. So let's remove the hand now and roll this leg to the side without force, and then return. Let's do this 3 times. Keep the spine long, so if your foot doesn't reach the floor, no problem. So once we've done it 3 times, just taking another one and holding, maybe subtly easing the leg out. So if this is too strong, definitely releasing. Or going back to the original figure 4. Releasing when you're ready. So switching over legs, making that 4 shape, flexing the foot, pressing the leg out lightly. So remember, nothing is painful. We gradually increase the range. We flow through the movement. So when you're ready, removing the hand and rolling, keeping length through the spine. So you're rolling this foot more towards the side. So doing 3, and then doing an extra one, and then just holding in that position. Maybe lightly pressing away. Or I'm probably just pressing 5%. Definitely no more than 20%. So releasing when you're ready. So let's have your feet hip distance. Remember, you can have towel underneath the head if you choose. Check the toes forward, the knees forward. And then from here, we're going to take it into a shoulder bridge. So tune into that thoracic breathing. And when you're ready, use an out breath. Have the weight more on the inside of the foot. Track the knees. And begin to lift the back of the hamstrings, the legs towards the bottom crease. And roll up smoothly to where you're comfortable through the spine. And then return through the spine. Think of sending the tailbone away. So use the out breath to come up, the in breath at the top, the out breath to lower down, and the in breath at the bottom. And when we're here, we do want to feel that we're relaxing and releasing. So just rolling up kindly through the spine and then returning, opening across the shoulders. So we could continue with this, or we could hug one leg in, check that the knee, supporting knee lines up with the toes, send the tailbone away, still think hamstring towards the bottom, roll up through the spine. So let's do 4 on this side, and then 4 on the other side. And you'll find that your range has decreased, and that's okay, but we have increased the load in the supporting leg. To check supporting knee in line with second and third toe, hamstring towards the bottom crease, send the tailbone away, roll up through the spine. Noticing if it feels the same on both sides. The first step to any improvements will always be noticing. So once you've done 4, going back to both legs down, rolling up through the spine kindly, and then lowering down. So take in recovery at any time you choose. But if you feel ready, let's cross the leg into a 4 shape. Have your foot flexed and make sure there isn't force. And in this 4 shape, once again, coming up into your ski slope, keep the hips level and then rolling down through the spine. So check knee in line with second and third toe, pubic bone in the centre. Out breath up, in breath at the top, out breath to wheel down, in breath at the bottom. Once you've done 4, switching sides, tracking the knee, flexing the foot. Once again, assess both sides, compare. Notice if there's more stiffness in one side. Notice if you can turn your knee out as much on both sides. And also just think about how it feels. So when you've done your repetitions, let's straighten those legs out and extend the arms overhead. So if we think of the ribs, the lower ribs, the floating ribs, let's make sure that rather than popping up, they keep down. So think of weight in the back of the ribs. Not enough to force, but just enough for that area to feel weighty and that you're not going to overarch your lower back. So releasing the arms. Let's bend the legs in and just hug inwards. Lift the sternum and just check for that apple space between the chin and the chest. Lower down one leg and then the other leg. So from here, let's take the arms to the side like a crucifix, and we're going to do some knee rolls side to side. So we could begin with the feet down, and we got long line, head to tailbone. We need enough control through that midsection to keep the shape of the spine. So the spine wouldn't actually be neutral, but it's still long in all the segments in an optimum shape. More intense would be to have the legs in tabletop. Think of that who breathing, think of that connection through that midsection and the shoulders that are relaxed and down. We could choose to turn the head to the opposite direction to the feet. Choice to extend the legs. Still keeping the shoulders down, so it's likely your range will decrease to keep the shoulders down. One more on each side. So hug the legs in. Circle, so we're massaging the spine, so we're circling the knees around. And after about 4, let's reverse the direction. And then after about 4, hands on the knees still and circling through the hip sockets. So starting with a fairly small range, increasing when it suits you. reversing. So last one here, and then circle through the ankles, reversing the direction. Lowering down one leg and then the other leg. So from here, we're going to take tabletop and then we're going to do some heel drops. This could be done with one leg up, flexing the foot, a few repetitions on one side. So I recommend 8 repetitions, and then lowering that leg and repeating with the other leg. Keep the control through the centre, the back still. Or we could have both legs up. Let's flex the feet, control through the centre. So think of those floating ribs, making sure they're not popping out. Have weight in that area. Out, breath down. In, breath up. So if we wanted to stay in tabletop but make it lighter, we could place the hands lightly under the legs to take a little bit of weight out of the legs. If we wanted the 2-leg version, if we want to make it harder, we can take the leg further away. So if you've got one leg, variation, 8 on each side. And if you're doing this variation, one more. And let's hug those legs in. Lowering down one leg and then the other leg. And with the band, we're going to take a hamstring stretch. So straighten the leg and flex the foot. The leg that's not through the band, choose when you have the leg bent or straight, just what feels good. Hold the band in both hands and relax the shoulders. Now the band, the hand that is nearer the little toe, pull on that band a little, feeling the stretch slightly different and possibly slightly stronger. The bottom is on the floor, the leg is lovely and straight. But without force, remember nothing is painful. Let's release and repeat on the other side. Hamstring stretch. Straighten the leg, elbows down, shoulders relaxed. Maybe you extend the leg, we're not stretching as well. And pull a little bit more with the band on the side of the little toe. Relaxing through the throat and through the jaw. Releasing when you're ready. So roll your shoulders and your hips to the side. And when you're ready, coming up to a seated position. So with the band, we're going to tie it around the legs, just enough to have a little resistance when our knees are hip distance. No more than 20% resistance. I would tie in a reef knot style or knot that you can so easily undo. So the band is just there for a little bit of feedback, helping us to recruit the right muscles. So taking it into a box position, hook the toes under and lengthen head to tailbone. With the bottom ribs, once again, the floating ribs, just making sure that they're not slipping down, lifting them up enough into the back as you lengthen head to tailbone. Tune into the thoracic breathing. Find and maintain that light connection. Extend the leg and return. So think of hamstring, back of leg lifting towards the bottom crease, enough to use your bottom. And if we think of the consistency, we want to use the bottom. We want to use the bottom, or the bottom to be the consistency of a ripe grape and not a raisin. So bottom working enough, but definitely not too much. And once we've got that consistency, let's begin to extend the opposite arm. Let's push out just a tiny bit into the band, just enough to feel the outer thighs working, just a little. And once you notice that, either stay with what we're doing or begin to take your leg and arm a little bit wider. Reminder, the arm is optional. Keep using that midsection and the head is up in line. Let's do one more on each side. And then we will sit back into child pose and turn the palms upwards. Releasing when we're ready. And with the cushions, it may feel nice to place a cushion underneath your feet, or possibly even a second one, or a cushion so that it will be underneath the forehead when you're in child pose. So we might be right back or more forward, just finding a position that complements you, and you can have your spine in neutral. The weight is more on the forehead and the chin might be very, very slightly tucked in, and we can take the arms behind. Roll the shoulders back a little and ease the shoulder blades into the spine. Think of the shape in the shoulders, the neck, knowing that they're not cramped in. And if it's uncomfortable, please adjust or come out of it. If it's easy, you might take your arms a little higher without force. Releasing when you're ready. So now we're going to lay on the tummy and we'll be taking it into the dance. You might choose to have a towel, small towel under the forehead, or even a small towel under the navel if that makes you more comfortable. So we can use the band around the legs still if we choose. So from here, let's have the arms by the sides. Hug the arms in. Lengthen head to tailbone. Because we will be extending the legs and bending, let's think of the lower part of the abdominals in particular working, as well as the whole abdominals. Draw the shoulders back enough to have optimum alignment. Hands on the trousers, elbows to the ceiling. Out breath up, in breath down. And if you feel ready, pubic bone down, feet towards your bottom. So bending at the knee. If you want to make it easier, keeping the feet down. If you want a little bit more intensity, pressing the legs out into the band no more than 20%. So avoid pushing the tummy out And to add different planes, choice to add a side bend at the top. Arms hug in towards the sides. Let's do one more on each side. And then taking a box position after we've undone the band. So in the box position, begin to rotate. Think of those floating ribs, making sure they're towards the back. So right hand, right knee, left hand. Reverse in the direction. Either repeating again in your box position or taking it into down dog. Soften at the knees, the elbows, and then beginning this circular motion. Reversing possibly after 4. So last one here. And then sitting back towards the heels. Sitting back towards the heels. So in this position, from child pose, take it into box and maybe take more weight forward, loading the wrists, and then sitting back. Shoulders down from ears. Use the midsection enough to support the back. So you might stay with this, or with the leg, you can bring it forward and wrap it round, sitting back, and then you can unwrap and repeat on the other leg. So just flowing through the move. So when we flow through the move, we avoid going right to the end of the range. Otherwise, we lose our flow. But gradually, the movement, the range increases. So we do get the suppleness, the flexibility. Possibly one more on each side. And then from here, let's extend out the front leg, or for argument's sake, our right leg. Keep enough control through the midsection and take the leg across the leg and ease back. I'm just going to manoeuvre myself forward so I've got more space. You might lower right down into the leg or not so. Hold the head up in alignment as opposed to flopping and sagging through the neck. So this feels like a stretch for the thighs, the bottom. Releasing when you're ready. And then repeating with the other side. Have enough control through the midsection. Cross the leg over and sit back into it. Just to where suits you. And remind yourself that you need to keep your head lifted enough as opposed to slouching through the neck. Releasing when you're ready. So now, coming up to a seated position, and we're going to finish off with half or full roll-ups. So finding your sit bones, finding height in the spine, and if you prefer, having the hands underneath the legs. Elongating, breathe in to prepare. And as you breathe out, keeping control through the midsection, slide off the tailbone, slide off the bottom, breathe in, breathe out, rebuild. So we are flexing through the spine, but there isn't collapse. You have, as we roll back, ample distance under the chin. So as you know, you might have the arms up, the shoulders down from the ears, the blades down and in, and gradually increase the range, gradually. Some of us might stay with the half roll up. And if we want to add intensity in the half roll up, a subtle rotation. So subtle, turning the chest to the side, opening through the arms, gazing towards those fingers. Or we might go all the way down and take the arms overhead. And then returning without forcing, choosing if we roll over the legs or not so. So visualize a beach ball on your lap if you're rolling over the legs. And let's do one more of whichever variation we may have chose. And then bending the legs. They're roughly 90-90 at the back of the legs. Let's take the arm to the side, shoulder down from the ear. Ease so subtly the shoulder blade towards the spine. Chest is open. And then choice to lift the hips. Lowering down and taking your legs to the other side. So roughly 90-90, supporting through the trunk, shoulder down, and maybe lifting the hips. Releasing. Having knees forward, sit bones. I'm going to have a slight bend in my legs. And just take slight rotation, softening the shoulders. You're on your sit bones. Repeating to the other side. Straightening more the legs if you feel ready. Flexing the feet, height, and then hinging from the hip. So reducing the angle at the hip, but keep the spine in neutral. Keep the chest lifted. And then just rounding, just soften in without any collapse or sagging in any area. Gently releasing. I hope you enjoyed that. Well done. Thank you.